Hey there, YouTube. Darstacker here. I got the OG of the silver stacking community on YouTube, Salivate Metal, for an interview. I'm very happy he was able to help me out. Stay tuned to hear from the man himself. After the interview is over, stay tuned for more information on a 300 sub giveaway, which I've already surpassed, so that drawing will be coming up soon.
There is a great disturbance in the force.
Don't know the power of the dark side.
Hey YouTube, Darstacker here. We got an interview with the king of content creators in the silver community, Salivate Metal. I'm really looking forward to this interview. Anyone that's subscribed to my channel, I'm sure already knows about Sal, so I won't give too much of an intro. He's probably one of the most prolific content creators on YouTube in our community, and he gives out a lot of great content in a wide range of topics within our hobby of collecting and stacking. So if you haven't, in the unlikely event that you aren't familiar with Sal, please check out his channel. How's it going, Uncle Sal?
Doing well, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm glad to have you. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you the time as well, and looking forward to the interview for sure.
Cool. So we'll jump right into it. How did you get your start into stacking and collecting?
Well, it started when I was a boy, really. My grandfather gave me a 1906 cleaned Indian head cent, and I thought it was just the most amazing thing, and I treasured that thing. And to this day, though, since I have started that particular beginning, I'm not sure exactly where that coin is, but I'm sure it's somewhere. But nonetheless, that's what sparked it. And it was several years after that I bought my first silver bar, and I still have that silver bar, and that kind of just headed me into a different direction of appreciating coins in general and precious metals specifically. And throughout the time, I just kind of started accumulating pieces that I enjoyed, and found out that as I was doing it, I was stacking before stacking was really a thing. I was collecting these bars, these silver bars, and not really thinking much more about it than just thought they were cool, and I felt like a pirate having this treasure there. And so it's that kind of led to just further interest and into accumulating precious metals and coins for sure. So that's kind of where it led to, and kind of snowballed, and then this community came about, and it's history from there.
So I guess you would say you are a stacker collector, not so much a flipper or a prepper?
Right, that's right. I mean, I feel like in some ways I am prepped in some avenues, but I would consider myself not savvy in the prepping area. Definitely am not a flipper. When I buy something, I like to keep it, and I'm not savvy enough to be able to to time the markets and be able to buy certain pieces and monopolize on price premiums, especially with a hot coin, and then be able to profit from that. It's too much stress for me. But I am a stacker through my collecting interests. In other words, when I buy I'm holding in my hand right now a 2020 Krugerrand that I got at a pretty good price, and I bought the coin because I think it's pretty neat looking, and these were fine specimens. But this would be considered a stacking coin or round or what have you. And so this is something that actually it is a coin. It's got 1 rand is the denomination on it, and so I find that as I get pieces that I enjoy, then I'm stacking as well.
So what made you start your YouTube channel? And how did you build up such a large community of followers?
Well, I have been on YouTube for quite a while before I started my channel. And I started out on YouTube probably in 2006, but really started watching precious metal content around 2007 and 2008. And not necessarily, but I think in partly because of, but not fully because of, the economic crisis. I just thought it was interesting to find that there were videos out there of gold and silver, and at that time there was some discussion on the economic effects of what's going on and how gold and silver play a role in that avenue. But I was interested in the shiny. I wanted to see the unboxing videos, or just the silver and gold showcases. And that is what inspired me to finally, after some time, to start my channel. And it was inspired by that. Really, I would call it first generation of what we now know as the silver community, but really as a greater whole, the precious metals community, but really started around silver. And so I look at it, I kind of categorize the silver community in multiple generations. The first generation that I watched was a sub generation. In other words, I really wouldn't even consider it a generation of precious metals stackers. There were just people out there randomly showcasing silver and, well, some gold, but mostly silver bars and coins. And but there really wasn't a sense of community tied to that. There were just people that had followers and they were showing their pieces individually, but there wasn't much interaction between channels at that time. But then when I started, right before I started open my channel, I did notice a community start to form, and others out there posting videos. And so I thought I'd jump in, and I did. And then the second part of your question is, how did you get so many followers? Well, it took me 6+ years. Started my channel on January the I think 27th, 2013. And so it's been a slow move upwards. Mine did not happen overnight by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, to this very day, there are channels that are less than half of my age, sometimes even a quarter of my age, and they have many more views than I do. And it's really about views. Subscribers, although it's nice to have subscribers because they will be more likely to get notifications of your videos, most of my views come from non-subscribers. And so when you see the subscriber number, it doesn't mean much. If you go to a channel where you see the views that they get, that is really what counts. And my channel is really small compared to some other channels out there that are much younger. But that's kind of where that is. So the followers is, if you count that to subscribers, most of my subscribers don't even watch or are not around anymore. And or the viewers that do view, that don't necessarily subscribe. I don't know how they find my videos, but they're finding them, and I appreciate every single view for sure.
So did you set out to grow a channel and have an audience, or did it just kind of happen organically?
It just kind of happened. I kind of hoped at the very beginning, but I'm not very good at marketing, really, per se. And so and plus there's, to me, as far as quote marketing or promoting, self-promotion, I'm not very good at that either. Plus I do find there's a level of rudeness to it. If I was to go around to other channels and say, hey, check out my channel or whatever, that's just not my style. My feeling is since there is a community and there was a community forming, I would just partake in the community. And I think me partaking in the community by supporting other channels and watching their content, that would eventually come back to me. And it did, slowly but surely. Some people do things to grow their channels, like do giveaways and things like that. But I wanted to make my channel about the content. I wanted the content to sell itself, and and not that there's anything wrong with giveaways, not that there's anything wrong with promotion of your channel on certain levels, but I wanted to try to take a slightly different approach. And I think that is partially one reason why my channel hasn't grown as fast as some other channels. But the other thing is I don't feel like my content is as good, or that I'm as articulate as other channels out there.
Oh, I disagree, sir.
Well, I appreciate that. But like Spectacular, I think he's got a far superior channel, and Yankee Stacking and Silver Dragons, but you've got a great voice, and you've got a nice channel that you've started here too, and it's exciting to see channels like yours out there for sure.
Well, thank you.
And Stacking Stormtrooper as well.
Yeah, I think people that are watching your videos, like even when you're just doing like a stream of consciousness, or just sometimes not even talking about our hobby specifically, it's just your personality that comes through that makes people want to watch.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm trying my best to be real and keep things light. Sometimes we talk about serious discussion, but I do like to kind of keep things light. And I do think that one thing as well too is I do appreciate my viewers and the community, people like you who have your own channels and are doing a great thing there. So I think it's an awesome. This is a great place. Met a lot of nice people here for sure.
For sure. This is the silver communities on YouTube. They're very supportive.
Very true.
So when you have such a large audience, do you feel a sense of responsibility for, I don't know, say if you mentioned a particular piece and a bunch of people bought it and maybe they lost money or didn't do as well as you thought, or something along those lines?
Yes, that's a great question. I do, especially because I review coins from bullion dealers from time to time, and have gotten some flack from it. There's some channels that are, well, I mean, there's some people and one other channel who just lambast me for doing that. But I always am careful with how I present anything, and always am transparent when I present a coin, even if it's a coin that I buy myself that I enjoy. But I will never review a coin that I don't like, don't think is neat. It has something that's cool about it. And I usually, and even if I buy a coin, I'm going to nitpick it. In other words, I'm going to find something about it. Not in every case, but in most cases, there's something you can find wrong with anything. And not that I'm out looking for it, but I try to be honest about the value. I never present any coin or any situation or anything that is going to overpromise its performance in terms of value. Everything. I always kind of have a disclaimer so that people understand that. I think most of my audience understands that anyway, where I don't need to say anything. But for those who don't, I do put that disclaimer in there that I'm reviewing this for a bullion company, or I bought this and I really like the coin myself, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you may like the coin or that you should buy it because the value, because the premium you paid for that coin may tank. It's a collector coin. I did a video about that just recently. Actually, it was a high relief 2020 wedge-tailed eagle. Talked about this very subject there. But yes, I do feel a responsibility for the audience. But no matter what I do or what I say, there's always going to some people that are going to say that I'm in the pocket of the big bullion dealers, or that you didn't mention this little thing about it, or you didn't say this to really make sure your audience understood. And you can't please everybody. All I can do is try my best and know that there's going to be some naysayers out there who have something to say about it, no matter what I do. And that's just goes with the territory of having I guess an audience.
That's true. And from watching your live streams, I think you're very tolerant of the haters and the trolls.
Well, thank you, sir. And they have to put up with my slurping too. I have that just handy here for you. It's a little lukewarm now, but that's okay. All right.
Awesome. No, I got my own particular copy of the slurp. I'm happy to have that.
All right. Awesome. Cool.
So let's talk about the market a little bit.
All righty.
I think the supply side and high premiums subject has been done to death, so I want to talk about something else a little bit. As stackers, we're always taught that as stocks dropped, the price of precious metals would go up. Gold has done okay, but why do you think that silver hasn't followed that pattern?
Well, you're asking that question at a timely manner, because I just covered that topic in today's video. And essentially what it boils down to is it's a matter of what history is. People do tend to go towards gold before silver in times of crisis. more immediately. And this has proven itself time and time again, mostly. Now, there have been some exceptions. And you know what they say about past performance doesn't indicate future performance or future, indicators. So we really don't know what's going to happen with silver, but we know that right now it's really kind of lagging, but I would say only it's lagging in the spot price. There is a gap between the spot price, between futures prices and physical prices that we pay from the bullion dealers, and we've covered that again. And really, silver is kind of holding its own in terms of price when you take into account premiums. When you buy, when you sell, you're going to lose a little bit, but they're starting to catch up a little bit there. But essentially, it's being delayed. And what's going to happen, at least according to past performance, is gold will get to a certain level and will become too expensive, and so people will swarm to silver. They're already starting to accumulate more silver. Silver demand is up greatly, and I think that's going to bode well for silver's prices to come, but it still may take a while. No one really knows when that will happen, but usually silver's rise is delayed after gold goes up. And I think that's why silver prices didn't rise, because especially during that big sell-off, we saw that big sell-off, people were escaping gold and silver, paper contracts and ETFs and the like, to save their losses in the market. And at the same time, or days after, people were trying to buy up as much silver physical as they could, and gold as well, and there still are, really. And but the silver spot price has not caught up with that. Now, there is something else that I think is important to note here, in terms of silver, how it's different than gold. Not that it wasn't viewed this way before, because I think it was, but I feel there's something different this time. In so much that silver is seen more and more by the market as a commodity, as opposed to being a hedge against economic instability or money. Now, I think you and I would probably agree that silver is money, but there are some in the silver community, or some of the precious metals community, who don't feel that way, and that's understandable too, because it hasn't been performing like money in the markets. There was a time when Kodak was one of the largest consumers of silver that was recyclable for photographs, but now it's the PV, photovoltaic industry. We've got the biomedical field. We've got electric vehicles becoming more increasingly used, more electronics now than ever before. There's a diverse usage of silver out there for those applications. And but I think the recent accumulation of silver in the physical form, in the form of coins, rounds, and bars, should give us confidence, should give everybody confidence that what we are doing is the right thing, to hold on to silver to preserve our wealth in the long run. This is not a short game. It's not an investment. I've talked about that as well too. You're not going to make money off the metal itself. The best thing to hope for is that it will preserve your wealth in the long term.
Part B of that question was going to be, do you think the decreased silver demand due to the shutdown of the industry is at least partially responsible for the low silver price?
Yes, I think it will, since mines are essentially, a lot of the mines are either staggered, shut down, or running at very minimal operation. Silver is mostly produced as a byproduct of metals like copper, nickel, lead, zinc, and so there's less demand for commodities right now, or there probably will be, and if they're already right now, which means that mining is already kind of mostly shut down. And so that means there's going to be less supply out there, which means that for those who want the physical, either more has got to be produced for the physical as this demand increases, which means that prices could go up. Now, most people think that when demand drops on the industrial side, that the prices should go down. But as we see the amount of, quote, silver investors, which again, I hate to use that word, but that's what people call it, but we would say stackers, But those who accumulate the metal to hedge against an economic instability, then you are going to see some of that demand shift from the industrial side to the investor side. And as to how much that, what that gap is, and how much increase it is, and how much shape shifting of that is concerned, will determine price, I think, to come. It's going to take a lot more demand than it is right now, though. And so we'll see how it plays out. I wouldn't even begin to guess, which is why that in my video that I posted today, which is as of I don't know when you're going to post this video, but today is Monday, April the 27th. And I posted a video today talking about that and how no one can really predict when that's going to catch up, when silver's going to catch up, if it will, because it's a different kind of situation nowadays.
Yeah, this is definitely unprecedented. I'm going to interrupt the interview here to make a footnote. As I had to listen to this over and over again, the last two questions as I edit, I think if you rewound it and listened to those last two questions maybe once, maybe twice, maybe three times, this is really where Sal shows his expertise and depth of knowledge in the market. And it took me at least it took me a few times listening to it to really understand what he was saying. This is a very important point, and I can't emphasize it enough. Like, I really want you to rewind and listen to those past two questions again. Anyway, pardon the interruption. We're going to continue on with the original interview. So, do you invest in mining stocks, or the commodities?
No, I don't. And I know some in the community do, and God bless them for doing it. I just don't have I don't want to take the time to research and stress myself out over something that I can't control. And where my money could be is because if you're going to invest in mining stocks, you might as well invest in some other company too, like Apple or Microsoft or what have you. Obviously, if you have a huge interest in mining, which I think mining is fascinating indeed, but there's so many complexities. There's just as much complexity in those companies as there is in Tesla or any other stock out there. And commodities, meaning the ETPs and ETFs, no. I know some people have done that as well too. In fact, some people talk about it as a way to avoid the high premiums, and you could trade these and then cash them out when the spot price goes up and use your profits to buy physical. And if you have that know-how and have that ability and want to do that, that's fine. For me, I'm just a physical guy.
Yeah, me too. That it just adds a whole layer of complexity that I'm just too lazy to research.
I agree. I'm right there with you.
So that's enough serious talk for now. How do you feel about people that imitate your voice, like Stacking Stormtrooper?
All right, this is a very serious topic, folks. He said we're going to stop the serious talk, but this is the most serious question out there because breaking news here on Dark Stacker's channel.
Uh-oh.
Every time I hear Stacking Stormtrooper impersonate me, I well up in a ball and cry like a baby because he does such a better job at impersonating me than even I do myself that I just want to just pack it up and go home. Pew, pew. No, in all seriousness, even though it's a light topic, I see it as an honor. There's other people that have, most people will shoot me an email or ask me in a comment, hey, is it okay if I do a video with your voice? And thinking that I might get offended by it. But no, I look at it as I appreciate it. I mean, to me, it's a compliment, if it's, they say imitation is flattery. I mean, there's other times where I'm sure that wouldn't be the case. I'm sure in some Discord chats or some of the people that do hate me, I'm sure that they would do an imitation as a derogatory aspect. But most people, they're doing it out of fun and out of good humor, and I'm completely fine with that. That's perfectly fine. Yes, indeed.
So as I teased our interview in the previous videos, I got like 2 emails, both of them asking me to ask you anonymously, is this your real voice?
Oh yes, oh yes, it is my real voice. Let me knock on my larynx here. Oh yeah, that's my.
Okay.
There's no. I use no devices to try to change my voice in any way, shape, or form. It is completely coming out of my mouth.
Okay. Well, now those people know. And I told them I wouldn't expose them, so I can't tell you who asked.
All right.
So, what are your some of your favorite things to collect or stack?
Let's see. Well, let's see. I am mostly kind of. I'm trying to acquire the Royal Arms series of different sizes and metals for the 2020 Royal Arms. And so that is kind of what I'm focusing on right now. Other than that, I'm trying to get probably as many 2020 dated coins as possible because I think this year is quite an interesting year with all that's going on. And so I think that's kind of the basic focus. But I'm going to try to get my LCS will carry constitutional silver, and I'm looking at a couple pieces that I bought recently that I haven't done videos on. I don't do videos on everything I buy, but I want to do videos on these and just anything that just catches my fancy. But I'm mostly going after gold if I can, which is it's very difficult right now with the prices where they're at. But I think I have been sold literally by some commenters on my videos about getting the gold swan. The 2020 Gold Swan by the Perth Mint. It's such a special year and a special bird that represents the black swan of the coronavirus this year. So that may be one I get next. I don't know, but I gotta wait for gold to come down. I think a little bit first.
Yeah, I'm hip. Like, I may be limiting myself, but I'm not in a place where I can get a lot of gold. I'm sticking to silver for now.
Yeah, and it's understandable, and that's the thing about why silver can be so attractive, especially when you take a look at where the price point is compared to where it had been in the past. And even with the premiums, it's still relatively inexpensive compared to what we've seen in the past. So it's probably not a bad idea. Yeah.
So, give us a heads up. What do you got planned for the future of your channel, or maybe what you got planned for your stack?
Well, let's see. I'm just gonna again. My focus is trying to get more gold compared to silver, but I've been throwing in some platinum in there as well. It's just in general. So I'm probably gonna continue to focus on that. It does not mean I won't buy silver. I do, and I will. For the channel, I'm just gonna try to continue as I am. I do want to try something a little bit different with the channel, but I'm not sure exactly what that is. I want to try to expand the audience if I can by trying something a little bit new. I've done it a few other times with some videos that have failed actually, and you may not have even known what I was doing, but it's been really a while since I've tried anything new. But I certainly would like to grow it at a faster pace, I think. But I don't know. But a lot of that's kind of hit or miss. So I don't know. But I got to think of what to do to be able to think outside of the box in that regard.
You put out so much content. Like, I know you work full time. This isn't your full time job.
That's right.
Where do you find the time? How do you keep the motivation to pump out so much content?
Well, I tell you, people say, Sal, you got to get on Instagram. You got to check out Reddit. You got to get on Discord. You got to join the Silver Forum. I just basically focus on YouTube. And most of my time, my spare time goes to the channel. And it is a second job, even though people might frown at that, but it is an income revenue source for me. But I do enjoy it too. And so I think because it's a revenue source, I need to take it seriously, and there's no shortage of material to put out. It seems there's always something in the news, especially with the COVID-19 out there now. It's a lot of things are happening in the markets and changing, and so it's just it takes a lot of time, and so I don't have a chance to interact in any other format. I do have an Instagram account, but I hardly ever use it. And
Same.
but basically yeah, just devote time to it. And it does, sometimes it gets tiring after a while, because part of it is not just producing content, but also supporting other channels and their content, and trying to help members of the community, answering emails, and thinking out what video I'm going to do 3 days from now, thinking of topics that are original, or presenting other ideas that someone else may have brought up in a different way. It does take a lot of time, for sure. It's definitely a lot of work.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you think about other precious metals, platinum, palladium, rhodium, all those?
Well, I did a video series, and it's in a playlist called Why I Love. And each video starts with those words: why I love copper, why I love silver, why I love gold, why I love platinum, palladium, rhodium. And so I do collect the other metals. Platinum especially, I feel like it's somewhat undervalued. And I think but more importantly, I just think it's just a fascinating metal. In fact, I've got a little not a carry piece, but a little piece I keep on my desk that I flip around, a little Canadian maple leaf, but it's a very dense, hard metal. It's used as a catalyst, as well as palladium and rhodium as well too. But I think the other metals are fascinating. I call them fringe precious metals, especially rhodium and palladium. They have a great value, but I just find it interesting from a metallurgical standpoint, the other metals that are out there. Would love to even get other metals. I do have some poured tin bars, believe it or not, tin, and copper, and titanium, tungsten. If you search my videos for full tungsten stack, you'll see my full tungsten stack collection. So yeah, believe you me, that's why the channel is called Salivate Metal, because I don't want to limit myself to just silver or gold. I talk about other metals too.
Good point. Yeah. So where did you come up with Salivate Metal, other than what you just said?
Well, I just kind of started thinking, but back when I was thinking about a channel name, there were a good fair number of people that had silver in their name. And I thought, well, I want to be something that's different, that if somebody searches YouTube, I would be the only one that would come up. You know what I mean? And so I thought of a Pavlovian thing, where dogs salivate over food. And you've heard the term salivating over not just any kind of food or something that tastes good, but it's a euphemism for, just something where you're literally kind of like, oh, this is good stuff. This excites me, and metal excites me, and not just silver and gold, precious metals, tin, copper, molybdenum, or whatever that other metal is, osmium, iridium, which I'd love to get some iridium, but also heavy metal music too. I love heavy metal music. So not that is really a focus of the channel, but it is in the intro music.
Is that you playing?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I think I've taken up enough of your time. I really appreciate you taking the time, and this was really fun.
Well, thank you, Darth Stacker. I really appreciate I'm honored to be considered for this interview, and it's been fun and enjoyable. I really appreciate it. Great questions, and very much appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. I will talk to you soon.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.